I'm Scott Lucas. This is today's EA Worldview on Iran. Will loose talk sabotage the nuclear deal? Well, it was never going to be easy. Despite the fact that an interim nuclear deal was reached between Iran and the 5+1 powers in November, despite the fact that the implementation of that deal for 6 months started on January the 20th, there are a lot of skeptics out there who say we will not get to the point where there will be a final settlement. That skepticism has been reinforced by two statements that have come out recently from the United States and that have fed into skepticism and hardline reaction in Iran. In other words, a merry dance of rhetoric to try to undermine the actual deal that has been struck. Here's the first example. Congressmen, supposed analysts, activists, say like the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies and the American Enterprise Institute, have been shouting very loudly that Iran is cheating on the interim nuclear deal. They are doing so because Iran supposedly is not, quote, dismantling its nuclear facilities. That's right. Iran, according to this interpretation, should be scrapping everything. The Natanz enrichment plant, the Fordo's second enrichment plant, any proposed heavy water reactors such as the one at Arak, all of those must be put out of operation. Needless to say, the Iranians were a bit taken aback at this and said, no, we're not required to dismantle. We're only required to limit our enrichment of uranium. And you know what? American Enterprise Institute, Foundation for Defense of Democracies, congressmen, pundits, Tehran is absolutely right. The interim nuclear deal says that Iran must suspend enrichment of uranium to 20%. But suspending enrichment of uranium to 20% does not mean that you suspend enrichment of all uranium. You may continue to produce 5% uranium, which has only a civilian use, which is not capable in the short term of being turned into any military purpose. That enrichment of 5% uranium will be monitored and inspected by the International Atomic Energy Agency. There is not a requirement for any dismantling because you can have an absolute mountain of 5% uranium and you cannot conceivably build a bomb. Iran can enrich as much of that level of 5% uranium if it does not turn it to a military purpose and still abide by an agreement, as, by the way, other countries can do under the Non-Proliferation Treaty. But of course, the people who talk about dismantling probably know this. They probably know that Iran isn't required to dismantle. What they're trying to do is to provoke a reaction from Tehran. Tehran says, no, we're not going to dismantle, so we're going to walk away from the deal. And it's not just that deliberate attempt at sabotage by some hardliners in the U.S. The second example of loose talk comes from American Secretary of State John Kerry, who said 2 weeks ago, all military options are still on the table if Iran does not abide by the interim nuclear deal. Whoa. So if Iran, for some reason, still has some 20% enriched uranium out there, if it doesn't convert it to fuel plates, you're going to put the bombers into the air, John? Well, of course not. What Kerry was doing was playing back to congressmen back home saying, we're still tough, we're not going to let the Iranians cheat. Here's the problem. Guess who noticed Kerry's comments? Not necessarily the U.S. congressman, but every Revolutionary Guard, every military commander, every hardline MP who really doesn't want a nuclear deal. They said, America is threatening us. America is challenging us. And guess what? Those threats are empty. We're tougher. One Revolutionary Guard commander said, if they attack, we will hit them outside our boundaries. That type of talk, if it escalates, doesn't just become talk. It becomes action. Action that says that negotiations should not be possible because the other side does not respect you, does not appreciate you, will not treat you as an equal. So far, the line has been held. There will be a start on talks for a comprehensive nuclear deal on February 18th in Vienna. Those talks, however, will be a long process, a complicated process. And all along, you will have sniping from hardliners, from the U.S. and from Iran, who want to find a way to make things unravel. And, unfortunately, you may have some loose talk from other people who actually want a deal, like John Kerry, but who are taking too much heed of supposed domestic opponents and making what effectively become irresponsible statements. Loose talk will make someone walk from the negotiating table. It's irresponsible, it's counterproductive, and it should be challenged and opposed at every opportunity. I'm Scott Lucas, and this has been today's EA Worldview on Iran.